rolling down the road. I'm on Highway 67 between Little Rock and Pocahontas, Arkansas. And this is really pretty flat ground, and a lot of times you're running into some wind. Friday, I was listening to that the efficiency podcast on Let's Truck, and they were talking about with aerodynamics and what they call parasitic drag, your transmission, your rear ends, rolling resistance on your tires. Really trying to improve that. What you're trying to do is decrease the need for horsepower. And so I've got my scan gauge, and it actually shows instant horsepower, how much you're using. This is a 455 horsepower engine. Now, I really don't know how accurate this is, but it'll give us a reference point. Right now I've got the truck set at 58 miles an hour. Let's see, I just stopped and did a 30-minute break not long ago, so it reset. We're showing 10.8 average right now, 11.7 instant, and like I said, it's pretty flat ground, and it shows we're using right about 75 horsepower. Now we must have either changed. It's really cool when you keep this on horsepower, because even when you're in, it doesn't have to be much wind. You go behind some trees and you can instantly watch that horsepower drop down. So we're fairly flat ground, so we're right at about that 75 horsepower. So what I'm going to do, we're cruising at 58. We're using about 5.5 pounds of boost, and we are going to bump this up to 65 and see how much our, I guess you're just going to have to take my word for it. So let's bump her up to 65. You can probably hear the truck get much louder. Right now we're showing we're using about 260 horsepower, 20 pounds of boost. Alright. Not much has changed. So now, bumping it up 7 miles an hour, we are looking about right at 110 horsepower, 111. So about 110 horsepower. Instantly we're down to 9 miles a gallon. We're using 8.6 pounds of boost. So just cruising here, we're right at just over 100 horsepower. So yeah, that we'd have to do some. So what did I say? 7 miles an hour, we're up 25 horsepower, more or less. So pretty interesting. Like I was saying on that one video, they didn't agree with it, and it may not be, but used to, every mile an hour you would slow down would be 1/10 on fuel mileage. So if you drop 10 miles an hour, you'd pick up 1 full mile a gallon. But yeah, that's what we're pretty much, this is pretty about the flattest ground you're going to see. I mean, right out 100 horse, 102. You might hit a gust of wind, it increase that horsepower load, but yeah, we're down. I'm going to have to slow it down again. So we're there took a little break, but we've got some trees here too, and I can feel I've got some wind knocking me around a little bit. So what we were up above 10 miles a gallon with 75 horsepower, now that we're above 100, I'm showing 8. Well, it's jumping around. 9.5 right now. At a 9.5, 9.75 at 105 horsepower, 8.4 pounds of boost. But a big, I'm just going to say 25 horsepower. So pretty cool. So I'm going to back it back down. Take it back down to 58. We'll see what it does. So it didn't kick into there. It just kicked into E-Coast. And so, yeah, I'm not even going to try. Oh, this is for safety's sake. So sitting here idling, we're using, showed about 6.5 horsepower just idling down the road. Now we're back down to 58 miles an hour, and we're fluctuating, but we're right there we're at 70, 72, 75. They're bumped up to 80, 78, but I'm going to say as an average it's about 75, and we're back up above 11 miles a gallon. I filled up in Pearsall, Texas, or I think you say how you say it, Pearsall, Texas, 101 on 35, south of San Antonio. That's where I fueled up. We went 735 miles, and we are averaging 11.1 mile a gallon. Now I do have a light load. I've got about what was it? It's pretty light. I tell you what, I was due one because I've been eating a lot of wind. I guess that's just this time of year, you know. I've been eating a lot of wind, been hauling heavy weight, I've been having to drive fast. 3 things that are not good for fuel mileage. And it's been raining. One day I was in a little bit of snow. You know, lots of things can affect fuel mileage. I mean, even the road, I've heard Kevin talk about this, even the road surface. If you got nice, smooth blacktop, this one, it's been, I don't know why it's like this, but about every 10, 15 feet, they've cut the road this way, perpendicular to the way I'm running with it, and I can just hear thump, 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 thump. I mean, every one of those little thumps is slowing you down a little bit, or trying to slow you down. I know it's not much, but, you know, all that stuff makes a difference. So, yeah, I'm doing a light load, and I'm in no rush. Today's Saturday. This load doesn't load until Monday at noon, so I'm in no rush at all. So, you know, I'm just taking my time and gonna bump up this mileage, because I actually dropped down for my 30-day. I dropped down below 10. I gotta get this mileage back up. I'd like for this to be a 10. I'd like this to be a 10 plus mile a gallon truck for its lifetime. So we still haven't dropped below that 10.4. I'm still 10.4 for its lifetime. Probably, what is that? I think we're up to about 112,000 miles I put on this truck. And when I get home, I'm gonna do an oil change on it, and I think I'm gonna do an overhead on it too, because I don't know when the last one was done to it. So yeah, this is the way I cut through going home. I don't ever go over to Memphis and up. It's 40 is so busy, and seems like there's always a wreck on it. So this is this part of it's probably the future. I think it's the future I-57 one day. So if you don't know, when you're coming down 57, say from Mount Vernon, Illinois, you come south on 57, you'll come into Sikeston, Missouri, and that's when you either have to go north on 55, that'll go to St. Louis. South on 55 goes to Memphis, or you can go straight up underneath 55, and that's when you pick up Highway 60, and that's where there's a Love's truck stop, there's a Walmart on the other side, and then I just run that all the way. So you've got some 2-lane, which I don't care, because it's 55 on that 2-lane, but normally people are doing about 65, so I don't usually have to wait on anybody. Occasionally I'll get behind somebody slow. Normally I'm going over the speed limit. Even on 2-lane, you know, I'll run 58, and so I'm going above the speed limit, and I'm still the slowest person on the road. Kind of feels like when I'm in California, you know, it's 55 miles an hour, but I'm still the slowest person on the road, and that's about the speed I like to run. I don't know why my last Freightliner did this also. I'm wanting to run 57, so that's why I set it at 58, because it seems like you're always running like a mile slower. According to Google Maps, you know, if I have my Google Maps running, whatever I set it at, I'm always a mile slower according to that. So, yeah, we're just cruising down the road here. Probably stay in Sikeston tonight. It is, gosh, it's crazy. It's 5 o'clock here, Central Time. So, it feels like it's, I guess that's about all we get anymore. It's about 5:30 before it gets dark. So, I guess that's going to do it for this one. Yeah, but I never really think about, I don't usually use my horsepower setting on this. So now we're rolling, we must have got out of some wind. Now we're at 68 horsepower, 69. We're up to 13 miles a gallon instant. There we just hit 70. I'll keep you on here for just a second. We're getting ready to go up a slight incline. We'll see it running at 58. What kind of horsepower it uses to go over this incline. It's an obvious hill. We're going up over top of overpass. You know, we're at the top side of an overpass. Our road's going to go up underneath us. So now we're 170, 180, 190. Okay, there we just crested it. We've got up to 190 horsepower. So it is kind of interesting with a 455 horsepower truck how little actual horsepower it uses. I like to leave that on because of course I have a light load, but there's a big hill on I-57. Anybody that's been on that road between Sykeston and Mount Vernon, you know the big hill I'm talking about that I'm going to have to go back up. And yeah, one more quick thing about this truck. You know, as I meant, my 14 Cascadia was 505 horsepower, and I'm going to have to look, but I'm guessing that was 1650 torque, and this one's 455, 1750. So I've got 50 less horsepower with this truck, but I've got 100 pounds more torque. And this truck actually pulls better. I remember right when I got this truck, I pulled a load out of it was either Edinburgh or McAllen, Texas. It was a load of actual, I should watch the way I say this. It was a load of Mexican Coca-Cola. It was in big glass, I'm thinking it was 24-ounce bottles, but they say Mexican Coca-Cola is still made with cane sugar, not with high fructose corn syrup. And I took it to Louisville. I guess Mexican people that moved to, you know, somewhere else in the country, they miss having that Mexican Coca-Cola. And I guess it's wow, you talk about a heavy load. I don't even know what it weighed. I didn't stop to weigh it. It weighed at least 45,000. A lot of glass bottles. And I could not, that was another deal where I picked it up on a Thursday. It had to be there like noon Saturday. So I had to, you know, kind of get with it and go drive a little faster. And I remember I left the cruise on, and I couldn't believe the way this thing walked up that hill with the load that heavy. And anybody knows that's a pretty big hill especially for Illinois. There's not many hills. So yeah, we're just cruising down the road, 75 horsepower. It's showing 11.7 mile a gallon on pretty flat road though. But there's some steam over there. It does look like we are driving into a slight headwind. Normally this stretch of road is pretty bad for wind, and it seems like it's never very favorable going home. So anyway, that'll do it. Just if you got a scan gauge, you might check that out. It's kind of neat because I never really thought about it until I heard that engineer talk about it. So we'll see you on the next one.